Only through action can we determine what we truly wanted, wrote Jean-Paul Sartre. This profound statement, found in his play Huis Clos, hints at a central theme in Sartre's philosophy, the nature of freedom, and the ways we deceive ourselves into avoiding it. You are nothing else but the life you have lived, he continues. What he meant is this: intentions and hopes alone do not define a life. Sartre believed that we often trap ourselves in a prison of our own making, a prison built on self-deception. Self-deception, for Sartre, is not simply a matter of telling ourselves little white lies. It's a fundamental dishonesty about who we are and what we truly value. It's about making excuses for our actions, blaming external circumstances, and refusing to acknowledge the uncomfortable truth that we are the authors of our own lives. Consider, for instance, the aspiring artist who claims he would have pursued their passion if only they had more time or if their parents had been more supportive. This, Sartre would argue, is a prime example of self-deception. The aspiring artist is choosing to prioritize other things over their art, perhaps comfort, security, or the approval of others. By blaming external factors, he avoids confronting the difficult truth that he is not making his art a priority. Words spoken to others can paint us as heroes, geniuses, or saints, but only our actions can prove the truth behind those words. We've all been guilty of making excuses at some point. We tell ourselves that we're too busy, too tired, or that it's not the right time to pursue our goals. We blame our upbringing, our circumstances, or even the weather for our lack of progress. While it's true that external factors can influence our lives, Sartre argued that they do not dictate our choices. When we consistently externalize blame, we relinquish control over our lives. Then we become passive observers, not active participants. This creates a disconnection between our intentions and actions, leading to a discrepancy between our life and our true selves. Imagine a woman who dreams of traveling the world and only talks about intention, but constantly puts it off, claiming she can't afford it. She might blame her job, her student loans, or her lack of a travel partner. However, Sartre would argue that these are simply convenient justifications for her own inaction. The woman is choosing to prioritize financial security or the comfort of familiar routines over the experience of travel. Most people live with the illusion that their intentions or self-image align perfectly with who they truly are. While this disconnection creates inner and outer conflict, people don't sense it that much because they believe they are right. By clinging to their intentions and hopes, they unknowingly become hypocrites, only to be criticized and blamed in the end. Thus, self-deception can manifest in various ways, from anxiety and depression to unhealthy coping mechanisms. Think of the man who stays in a loveless marriage and it is for his children. He might argue that he is a good father while blaming his spouse for his unhappiness, claiming that she's changed. However, Sartre would argue that the man is choosing to stay in the marriage, perhaps out of fear of the unknown or a desire to maintain appearances. He reinforces his self-image through confirmation bias, consuming and projecting this image to the world, finding temporary joy in this false sense of self. However, these actions are often influenced by how they want to be perceived by others. If their behavior doesn't align with the ideals they project through their words, they open themselves to criticism and judgment. They fear their self-deception will be exposed. And when it is, they react defensively, listing their intentions and insisting, "That's not who I really am." The path to authentic freedom, according to Sartre, lies in rejecting self-deception and taking full responsibility for our choices. It's about acknowledging that we are the architects of our own lives, and that we have the power to choose differently at any moment. This doesn't mean we won't face challenges or make mistakes, but it does mean that we approach these experiences with a sense of agency and ownership. Man is condemned to be free, Sartre famously wrote. This seeming paradox highlights the inescapable nature of human freedom. We are free to make choices, even if those choices are to remain in denial or to blame others. But true freedom, the freedom that leads to a fulfilling and meaningful life, requires embracing responsibility for those choices and striving to live in alignment with our deepest values. Huis Clos is an important reference. It's a lifelong journey, a process of continuous self-reflection and action, but it's a journey that ultimately leads us to become the authors of our own authentic stories.